All right, we're at the workshop table in my living room again. And here's the dumpster fire cylinder head. And what I'm doing here, or what I just got done doing, and again, this is kind of a recap. I've gotten these valve clearances in spec. So our limit on our intake is 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters, and that's over here. We're looking at the intake, and the exhaust is 0.2 to 0.3, and you can see I've measured these at 0.17 each and 0.27. So I've got these within spec in the spec, and what I did was I used my Harbor Freight micrometer to measure the shim thicknesses, because these shims that are below these buckets, let's see, there's the bucket, the shim sits on top of it, and whoa, holy eBay. Let's see, let's go over here. I got, come on now, one hand, and there we go. Helps if I pull it up from the right end. Okay. Don't make a mess. Okay. So the ones that were in here were 1.8 on all of them. No, excuse me. It was 1.95 on the intake one, and on both of the exhaust ones, you can see they're looking oily over here. And so I went with 1.75 on both of them. They were just barely within spec, but this gets them closer to the loose end of spec and keeps them in the range. And our one intake valve here, let's see, yes, it was the outside one, was in spec, and I left it where it was, and it's good and happy. So I didn't measure the size of the shim that was in it, but I'm guessing it would be somewhere in this range. But if I really wanted to be smart, or if I didn't have this kit, what I would do would make a key for myself and just put what size of shim is in each one of these, so that I would know that if I was getting out of spec, or if I wanted to be prepared, I could get the next size down for the next valve adjustment. But you don't want, let's see, these aren't probably the best example. Yeah, hold on. Your valves to start getting a big or a real thin lip on them. This one isn't the worst, but there's some of these that can get a real thin lip on them, and you just don't have a good seal. So what we want to do is stay on top of our valve adjustments, so we have that proper clearance, so we're not wearing it down to that point. We want it to progressively wear. It's not something like a rocker where you can constantly adjust it, but if it was a rocker, it'd be a piece of crap. So there's a benefit to that in the speed in which you can get from it, but not for the consistency of the setting. Even though they have lock washers, shims generally don't wear, but the imprint on them can wear. So what I'm going to do is start prepping this surface down here on the underside, because I got a little bit of oil, because sometimes that happens. I'm going to do a contact cleaner of this surface and a contact clean of this surface, and we are going to put the head onto this engine, and I'm going to start closing it up. So stay tuned. We'll follow that process. That sweet sound of torque being properly set. This head is torqued on to 29 foot-pounds on each of the head bolts. This one is a longer bolt and is set for torque. These three first, then that one. So that's what we did. I've got to get these two torqued and these two torqued, and we will have a head that is torqued down and ready to rock and roll. I'm really close to top dead center, so I'm going to go ahead and put the cams in as well. And as you can see, I don't have my flywheel in place. That's fine. I'll get it properly timed because I'm not going to add my tensioner. So I'm going to be able to get the cams in, and I'm going to call it a day. The last things that I'm going to have to do is coming up in our final part of this series, and that's going to be putting on the flywheel and getting the case on, the side case cover with the magneto and starter clutch, and putting on the clutch side case cover. And that'll be it. I'm so excited. We're almost there. Thanks for watching. All right, we're back here at the WR dumpster, and a lot has progressed since we've last filmed here. Everything's come together as planned. I've got both the side case covers on. I meant to show the flywheel after I torqued it, but it just didn't happen that way. So I've torqued it down to, I think it was 46 or 47 foot-pounds. I did it yesterday. I cycled the engine over a few times, and I was really concerned about this tensioner. I've replaced this stock tensioner many times on some different projects I've done, and we've went to a manual. And I've also had some people have success going back with the replacement OEM, because a lot of these things just fail, and that's just what happens. But it's a real pain to do that, because if it's on the bike, you have to remove your exhaust pipe and the starter to be able to extract the old tensioner, and that just really sucks. But I cycled the engine over, and we were able to get tension on the timing chain, the cam chain, some people call it. I prefer cam chain myself. But anyway, we got it all back together. Everything's in place. I've got the clutch side case cover, and oh, look at there. There's our old cam chain. So we've got that and our old piston sitting here. And we went back with OEM. Some people might ridicule me, but here's our box over here. I've got it sandwiched between the two pieces, some leftover parts. Leftover gaskets. I'm a compulsive gasket reuser, so I reuse the clutch side case cover and the stator cover. I put a little bit of black RTV. Judge me if you want. That's fine. But we're back together. We have an engine that's ready to run. So, oh, Captain America flip-flops. Anyway, I've got a new CR9E in place. I've cycled the gears over a little bit, and look, we've got our new countershaft sprocket nut in place, and our new countershaft in place, and of course our new seal, our case seal, and O-rings are on that, so we're in good shape. And yeah, I didn't vapor blast or clean this whole engine, because we're not trying to get too crazy about it. But this thing was absolutely filthy, because this, as I stated early on, this engine had its, well, the sprocket was welded onto the old countershaft, and getting that much heat into this area, and we ended up losing a lot of oil when this thing was forced to run, which is terrible. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just stuff these orifices with some rags. so they can safely, so it can be safely transported, and it's going to be out of my life. So I want to thank everybody for watching that did watch this series. And I thought this was going to be a tough project, but it really wasn't that bad. Not really any worse than a regular dirt bike engine. I was concerned about a 6-speed transmission, but it went quite well. So it's on to the bike now, and it's going to be about the owner it's going to be on the owner to install it and let me know how it goes. So fingers crossed. Until next time, thanks for watching.